Okay, scholars. To start this project, you're going to get a small, square piece of paper. Your first job is to fold it into a triangle. This is where you're going to put your initials, the design of your initials. So you want to plan out where those letters are going to go. You're probably going to have one small letter, one big letter right here, and a smaller letter right here. To start, I would do a skeleton, which is just a line, like the bones of your letter, just to kind of place out where you're going to put it. Remember, the letters need to be going off of the page. So notice how when I make my letters, they're going right off the page. All right, so now I have my skeleton. Now I can go ahead and make it thicker by going around the lines I gave myself. And then, so I don't get confused, I'm going to erase the lines that are inside. So there's my K, making sure I'm going over the lines nice and thick so that they transfer over in a second, which I'll show you. Okay, here's my B. B's a little bit easier. I think I'm just going to make the center. Don't really need to make it much bigger. And the S, which might be a little bit tricky, but I think I'm going to do that and that. Remember to erase the lines that are in the middle so you don't get confused. And you want to make sure to go over these lines so they're nice and dark and thick. So once they're nice and dark, you're going to open up your square again and fold it like this. So the letters are now on the inside. Then you're going to do this to the back. And what's going to happen is your letters are going to show up on the other side so that you can trace them and you start to get that mirror image. So I'm going to go ahead and color the back of the whole thing. And then trace over the letters. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I can see a faint line of where all these were. I can't really see that part, so I might go back and color the back again, see if it comes out. It does. Now I can see where to trace my lines. And I now have my design for my radial, or my first square for my radial design. Your next job is you're going to take a big square and you're going to fold it into 4 squares and then open it up. Now you want to decide which corner of your design is going to go in the middle. Some ways won't really work. That's going to look funny. That's going to make a letter X. But I could do it this way, or I could do it this way. I'm going to start with it this way. I'm going to take some carbon paper. This is going to transfer it on to the big paper. I'm going to do it dark side down. And the part that I'm always going to put in the center, I just want to put a little star on. All right, so I'm going to line up my design in my carbon paper. And I want to hold it still the whole time, because if it wiggles, then my design's not going to line up. And I'm going to trace my lines. And what's happening underneath this is that it's transferring on. The carbon paper is transferring it onto the big paper. I'll show you a little peek. Okay, so every line that I trace is going to be transferring underneath. See, there's the line I just traced. So you want to be careful what you do, because the carbon paper lines probably will not erase too easily. So I want to make sure that I'm sure this is where I want these lines. Oh, it wiggled a little. I could probably tape it so that it doesn't, but I don't want to rip this paper. And once I think I've traced them all, I would still check, because sometimes you miss and forget to trace a line. Looks like it's all there. I can lift it up. Excellent. Now I'm going to rotate to the next side, keeping the star in the center. And this is where you can kind of start to see where what your design is going to look like. It looks like I'm going to have a diamond in the center and a diamond around that, and then maybe these little mustache shapes in the corners. So I'm going to hold that still. I'm going to trace it again. Oops. Hopefully you are all going much slower than I am. Just want to make sure that you see how to do this. And it might not line up exactly, but it's pretty darn close. And I'll be able to go back and kind of make those lines meet later. Okay. I keep tracing all those lines, holding my paper still. And I'm going to peek to make sure I got them all, and I did, and see how it's starting to show up. I only have to do it 2 more times, and I'll have my whole design, and I'll be ready to go around and fix it and move on to the next step.